Another aspect shared by both the audio and the video elements is that each has controls, autoplay and loop attributes. In this example, the video will replay after it finishes playing. The progress tag element provides the ability to create progress bars on the web. The progress element can be used within headings, paragraphs, or anywhere else in the body. Progress element attributes. Value specifies how much of the task has been completed. Max specifies how much work the task requires in total. With HTML5 web storage, websites can store data on a user's local computer. Before HTML5, we had to use JavaScript cookies to achieve this functionality. The advantages of web storage. More secure, faster, stores a larger amount of data. Stored data is not sent with every server request. There are two types of web storage objects. Session storage, local storage, local versus session. Session storage is destroyed once the user closes the browser. Local storage stores data with no expiration date. The syntax for web storage for both local and session storage is very simple and similar. The data is stored as key-value pairs. Storing a value. Getting a value. Removing a value. Removing all values. The geolocation API's main method is getCurrentPosition, which retrieves the current geographic location of the user's device. Parameters. ShowLocation, mandatory, defines the callback method that retrieves location information. Error handler, optional, defines the callback method that is invoked when an error occurs in processing the asynchronous call. Options, optional, defines a set of options for retrieving the location information. User location can be presented in two ways, geodetic and civic. 1. The geodetic way to describe position refers directly to latitude and longitude. 2. The civic representation of location data is presented in a format that is more easily read and understood by the average person. Each parameter has both a geodetic and a civic representation. The drag and drop feature lets you grab an object and drag it to a different location. To make an element draggable, just set the draggable attribute to true. The API for HTML5 drag and drop is event-based. What to drag? When the element is dragged, the onDragStart attribute calls a function, drag, event, which specifies what data is to be dragged. The data transfer, setData, method sets the data type and the value of the dragged data. In our example, the data type is text, and the value is the ID of the draggable element, image. Where to drop? The onDragOver event specifies where the dragged data can be dropped. By default, data and elements cannot be dropped in other elements. To allow a drop, we must prevent the default handling of the element. This is done by calling the event, preventDefault, method for the onDragOver event. Do the drop. When the dragged data is dropped, a drop event occurs. In the example above, the onDrop attribute calls a function, drop, event. The preventDefault method prevents the browser's default handling of the data. Default is open as link on drop. The dragged data can be accessed with the data transfer, getData, method. This method will return any data that was set to the same type in the setData method. The dragged data is the ID of the dragged element, image. At the end, the dragged element is appended into the drop element, using the appendChild function. SVG stands for Scalable Vector Graphics, and is used to draw shapes with HTML style markup. It offers several methods for drawing paths, boxes, circles, text, and graphic images. An SVG image can be added to HTML code with just a basic image tag that includes a source attribute pointing to the image.